The plaintiff, Melissa Thomas, claims when her mom was sick and got behind on her bills, she loaned her thousands. But her mom spent most of the money playing bingo. Kathleen Hagedorn, the defendant, says if her daughter hadn't followed her to the bingo hall, she would have never known how the money was spent.
And Ms. Thomas, you're suing your mother, is that correct?
Correct.
Suing your mother for $5,000, alleging that she owes you this money for a loan you made to her she's failed to repay.
Correct.
All right, prove your case.
Okay, Your Honor. My mother's came to me now on 2 occasions. She needed financial help. She had a surgery. My father is retired, and they needed money for past rent, medical bills, and a few other things. So I do love my mother, and I would do anything for my family. That wasn't the problem. I had the money.
You'll sue her if she gets sick and you need your money back.
No, I sued her because I gave her the money, and basically she has a problem. She goes to bingo with my money.
I thought you said she was ill. That's why she needed the money.
She was ill. She got behind on her bills and things. But when I gave her this money on both occasions, not only has she, I'm sure, paid some things, but her and my sister goes to bingo.
But if I had a few dollars left and I got out of the house and I went to bingo, what's wrong with that?
Your Honor, it's frustrating because I want to help her.
So she has not repaid you?
Not.
How much did you loan her?
I gave her $5,000.
And she hasn't repaid you a dime?
Not a dime.
You didn't win?
No.
How long you been playing?
Years.
Probably about 20 years.
20 years.
But I have a lucky shirt for what it does.
Okay.
What does that say?
It says,
what has 75 balls and keeps the ladies smiling?
Bingo.
because there's 75 balls of bingo
Okay.
when you play bingo.
In Your Honor,
Ma'am, out of the entire 5,000, how much went toward bingo losses?
Truly, I don't know. Probably a couple thousand.
Couple $1,000.
Right.
How much do you lose on average every year?
I've never figured it up. But I go twice a week.
Hundreds or thousands a year?
It's in the thousands.
How much do you never end up on the winning side of bingo?
Once in a while, you might hit 100, 500.
Once in a while.
Once in a while, but then
Don't you think
put
it's
it
time
back in.
Don't you think it's time to switch over to craps or something, or poker? You need to either switch games or stop altogether, ma'am, don't you think?
No, I just go and I meet some ladies that I know, and I sit there and I have a good time, and I go home.
And go home
She
short a
shouldn't-
couple thousand.
Sometimes.
That's a very expensive social outing, isn't it?
Well, sort of.
You don't think you
But
can meet
I
them?
have nothing else to do, so. But she shouldn't follow me.
but Mom, I would help you out of everything. The thing that got me the most, Your Honor, is I gave my mom on both occasions, every time I've had her sign a promissory note and gave her money, my sister's there. And my sister was even a witness on this, and guess who was at the bingo hall with her with my money?
Jesus,
You wouldn't have known
Come on
that
up.
if
State
you
your
hadn't
name.
have followed
State your
us.
name.
It's Joanna Sapple.
So you're helping to facilitate your mother's bingo habits?
Yes, I am.
Why?
It's something to do.
There's nothing else to do in where you all live other than to go and play bingo
There
and lose
is.
thousands of dollars.
There is other things to do, but if she needed the money, we wouldn't stalk her at the bingo hall. We wouldn't follow you there, Melissa.
But who's calling who for money?
Man, why don't you think you should have to pay?
She's my daughter. If I had given her $5,000, I wouldn't have asked for it back.
But I wouldn't have lied either. I would have said, Mom, I need $5,000 for my rent, for my phone bill, my gas bill. You called up, Melissa, honey, this is Mom. I need $2,400 to pay past rent, current rent, and everything in between. But at 4:30, I got to go to the bingo hall with everything that's left of your money.
Did you know that this was a loan, or you thought it was a gift?
I did sign a note, but
Two.
at the same
So
time,
that's kind of a clue that it was a loan, right?
well, yeah, but I had figured out a way that I might have enough left. And actually, when I signed it, I was thinking B10. It's like a
You were thinking B10. Was that a bingo term?
It's a
Bingo
number.
ball.
And I
Before
thought,
you even got the money in your hand, you were thinking up
right,
bingo numbers.
because,
Yeah, you got a problem,
See?
man. Is there a bingo anonymous in your area?
Yes, there actually is.
There is. There should be.
There
There
actually
should be.
is.
And Bingo is sponsored by, isn't that a church in a
All
denomination?
different churches, yes.
Okay. Catholic church or something in particular? Okay. I'm going to write the Pope on you. You keep spending all your money on bingo.
Melissa Thomas says she loaned her mother thousands, but she lost most of it gambling.
It's sad. And it is sad, ma'am. You're looking shocked. Don't you think it's sad that you're losing thousands of dollars
No,
a year?
but I may get lucky.
Your mother needs help. You hear? 20 years, she haven't got lucky yet. So, do you owe her the $5,000, the entire amount?
Yes.
All right. And then there's
I'll
nothing I can do but order you to pay it. And in addition to that, I'm going to order you to attend Bingo Anonymous in your area
Thank
twice
you,
a
Your
week.
Honor.
Twice a week. That's my order. And I'm going to have my staff follow up with you and make sure you're attending. If not, you'll be in contempt, and we're going to bring you back. And I'm going to write the Pope on you, all right? All right. Judgment for the plaintiff, $5,000. Good luck to you
Your
all.
Honor.
It's been very stressful. It has separated the family. I'm just glad it's over, and maybe going to Bingo Anonymous will help.
I wanted to patch it up a long time ago, but she kept going to bingo. So that I had to go find her at the bingo hall to patch it up. I don't know.
I know.
Just stay away from bingo. Gosh.
You want to go with me?
No, I don't.
And now, a special throwback update as one of the litigants is back in Judge Mathis's courtroom.
Plaintiff Melissa Soffels says she and the defendant have been friends for over 10 years, and they were there for each other when Melissa was in an abusive relationship, and the defendant was a recovering addict. Melissa's suing because she claims while the defendant was teaching Melissa's daughter how to drive, she wrecked Melissa's car. Defendant Frankie Stringer admits that she was a crack addict, but says 11 years ago, when her grandson was born, she stopped using drugs and turned her life around. Frankie admits that there was a car accident while she was teaching Melissa's daughter to drive, but she insists Melissa's daughter was driving.
Start with you.
Well, first of all, I would like you to know that I was on your show in 2001. You changed the relationship with my mother. I'm closer to her than I've ever been, and I couldn't have done that without you.
Good. All right. Good. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear that we made a difference there.
So Frankie is like my sister. I love her. We've been friends for 10 plus years. My daughter adores her. I was in an abusive relationship. I bought a home. She was in a traumatic accident and a recovering drug addict. We sponsored each other, supported each other, lived in the home. She did everything for me.
Was she in recovery while she was staying with you?
Yes, I was out of a relationship. She was recovering. We got into the church, women empowerment groups, and we just started to grow.
Go ahead, let me hear from you. Give me some background.
Seeing you is an honor to be here in your court. It's a difference from watching you on television because I can holler at the TV, but I'm scared as right now. You don't play, Judge. I'm from Detroit as well, and like she said, I was addicted to crack cocaine. I was in a real bad accident, which I lost my right leg. I was in a wheelchair for 4.5 years because both of my femurs were crushed. My daughter gave me the biggest blessing, my first grandson. I only have one child. And I wanted to show him and be an example to him since he didn't have a father image in his life. I supported him through every sport, running up and down that field.
This was after you began recovery?
Yes, after I got out of recovery, I went to numerous...
When did you begin?
I began recovery as soon as he popped his head out. I said, I want to be a grandmother.
How long ago was that?
He's going on 11 now.
Okay, go ahead.
And I knew that I wanted to be a grandmother and not a drug addict. I wanted to make an example and show him that just because I lost my limb, I can get my life back.
Good.
And I did that.
Good. Congratulations.
Going to True Love Ministries, my pastor has instilled in me.
He's in Detroit?
No, I'm in Columbus, Ohio now.
Got it. Okay.
I had to run from that crack, sir. Judge. I had to do what I had to do for me.
Good.
And that was one of them.
Good.
Not because I don't love it, because I go quite a bit to see my grandmother.
But you wanted to get out of the tough environment.
Yes, I did.
All right. And they don't have crack in Columbus.
Yes, they, hold on, yes, they do. But as you see, I surrounded myself by people in recovery. I go to church, and I chose to change my friends around and to watch a great, phenomenal man as yourself.
Thank you.
Plaintiff Melissa Soffel says while the defendant was teaching her daughter to drive, she crashed Melissa's car. But the defendant insists Melissa's daughter was behind the wheel, and she wrecked the vehicle.
I do agree that getting away from the same crowd is very much necessary to recover from drug addiction. You're not vulnerable to the same old routine you were engaged in and doing your criminal activity, because they weren't giving the crack away, were they?
No, they weren't.
You had to do a little crime. You were involved in a little something to get your crack.
Well, yeah, I'm not proud of it.
Yeah, I mean.
But I'm proud of myself today.
That's right.
Yes.
So, and that's why we want to make sure you make a good example of folks. You got to move out of that same environment. Don't have to necessarily move out of town, but you got to move out of that environment. All right, and tell me how she owes you for the car damages.
Well, Your Honor, in February, my daughter, she's 16, so she's learning to drive. It's time for driving school, driving practice. During this time, she helped me teach Amara how to drive. So it was one evening, and I was asleep, and they were out practicing. So one morning, Your Honor, I look out the window, and I see this headlight hanging from my car. My car's a 2000 Malibu, and it's green. Not that that's important, but I look, and I see the headlight hanging, so I go outside, and this is what I see, Your Honor.
Yes, see it, please.
And this is just a couple of the pictures. You can actually.
Now, how did you go outside and see just the headlight hanging?
My window, I opened up the window, I look, I saw the headlight.
But if you saw the headlight, how did you miss all this?
Well, that. I know.
The headlight is the only thing I can't see. That's the only thing I cannot see.
When I walked around the car, I could not believe. Now, I had to wake them up because nobody had came in to wake me up to tell me.
They were in a coma, it looks like. Well, lucky they weren't. Go ahead.
No one woke me up to tell me this at that night that I was asleep. So I feel like Frankie is, I love her to death. Why would you not wake me up with a 16-year-old? And then why again would my daughter not come in and wake me up and I wake up to see this?
So you suing her because she didn't wake you up?
Well, no, Your Honor, I'm suing her because I found out she wrecked the car. I found out that Frankie wrecked the car. Actually, what I was told is they've hit a rabbit and the car went into a ditch and hit a tie rod. A few weeks ago, I get this letter, if I can present
From
this
whom?
From Amara, my daughter.
Your daughter saying what?
I'm sorry, I love you. I did not hit the rabbit.
I lied.
I did not hit.
She used the word I lied.
I lied to
All right,
you.
I lied
and
to
I'm
you, Mama.
And I'm doing it because I love my Aunt Frankie, and she's been nothing but good to me. You can put her out, but you can't put me out. That's why she lied for me. For her.
Ma'am, let me hear. She says that you crashed the car despite the fact that her daughter earlier admitted to it.
I did not crash the car, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to
with
it.
Your Honor.
Now, see, the way you answered that makes you suspicious. Why did you have to answer in that way?
Your Honor.
What?
All I've been through, I didn't tear that car up.
Tell me what happened.
Okay.
I was teaching her to drive, and that's a part of learning how to drive, is to be cautious, watch things around you, and move quickly. And I don't, she didn't turn quick enough.
Your Honor.
Plaintiff Melissa Soffel says while the defendant was teaching her daughter to drive, she crashed Melissa's car. But the defendant insists Melissa's daughter was behind the wheel, and she wrecked the vehicle.
It's your obligation to overcome the presumption that your daughter did it. Your daughter says she did it originally, so we have to stick with that if she says no. Now, the burden is back on you. You must prove that it was her, and you must prove that with evidence.
Yes, and I would like to call Amara
All right.
as well, Your Honor.
Because she's
please.
a proven liar. Go ahead and admit it. Yeah. She's an admitted liar. Go ahead. She
Okay.
lied to you. Go
Well,
ahead. State your name.
My name is Amara Joelle Thomas, and the day that we were learning how to drive, Frankie was driving home, and we were on like the street to go to my house, and the rabbit ran out in front, and she swerved, and that's when we went into the ditch, and she hit the tie rod. And we didn't know what to do. We were freaking out. It was like nighttime. My mom already knew that she was asleep, and she's recovering from her surgery, so I didn't want to like overwhelm her. So I called my uncle. He helped us pull the car out the ditch. We got it back to the house, and I told on Frankie that I would just tell my mom that I did it because she has nowhere to go besides our house, so she could stay with us. And then I realized that me taking the fault is not going to fix the car because I don't have a job to pay for it. So I admitted it so that we could get this car fixed.
She has a job to pay for it?
I believe so.
All right. You don't know? Doesn't she live with you guys?
No, she moved out now.
Oh, okay. When she was living with you,
Yeah.
did she have the job? Okay. Roland, I'm sorry. I'm going to go, but I'm going to read this. And if you want me to believe it, I'll take a look and I'll determine
Thank
whether
you,
I do.
Your Honor.
I want us to be a family again, but I have to tell you the truth. I didn't wreck the car. We did a rabbit from the road, and we slid and went in a ditch. I'm sorry, and I'll try to help pay for something somehow because I lied to you. All right, so she agreed to pay for some of it. All right, I'm going to conclude based on her response, which is typically a response indicative of guilt. And since that's the way you want to respond, I'm going to hold you liable for $2,750. That $1,000 is going to be the amount I'm going to assess against your daughter, or at least reduce it from her, and you'll have to hold your daughter liable because your daughter agreed to pay for some of it. And so your daughter's going to have to pay for that lie. $2,750. I believe you wrecked the car. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you. And they're not driving my car ever, anywhere.
I got my own now.
Nobody's driving my car. I just want us to get back to where we were and
I
be
do
family
too.
again.
I do too. Cool.
Thank you. I love you. Thank you, Judge Mathis.
Don't leave Doyle out.
Oh, yeah, I love you too, honey.